The small alien ship tumbled through space like a broken toy, its hull glowing red hot as it fell toward the blue and green planet below. Inside, Ambassador Kethfer gripped his seat as alarms screamed in his ears. His people, the Zilani, were known across the galaxy for their advanced technology, but right now, all that technology was failing him. Engine failure complete, his ship's computer announced in its calm voice. Impact in 3 minutes. Kethfer had been traveling to an important meeting when his ship's power core exploded. Now he was about to crash on some unknown world in the outer edges of civilized space. He looked at his communicator, but it was dead too. No one would even know where to find his body. The ship hit the ground hard, bouncing twice before sliding to a stop in a field of strange purple grass. Kethfer tasted blood in his mouth and felt something warm running down his face. Smoke filled the cabin as fires started all around him. He tried to move, but his leg was trapped under a piece of twisted metal. This was how he would die, alone on an alien world. Then he heard voices outside. The words were unfamiliar, but the tone was urgent. Someone was coming. Kethfer felt both hope and fear. These could be his rescuers, or they could be the beings who would kill him. The ship's door was ripped open with a grinding sound. Fresh air rushed in, clearing some of the smoke. A figure in a strange white suit appeared in the doorway, carrying what looked like a cutting tool. "Easy there, friend," the figure said in accented Galactic standard. "We're going to get you out." Ow. The being was clearly not Zilani. It had pale skin and strange round eyes, with dark hair showing through the helmet of its environmental suit. But its voice was gentle, almost kind. "My leg," Kethfer managed to say. "I cannot move it." The rescuer nodded and began cutting through the metal that trapped him. 2 more figures entered the ship, one carrying medical supplies and another with a small floating platform. "I'm Captain Lee Henna of the Earth ship Endeavor," the first rescuer said as he worked. "These are my officers, Dr. Kim Sola and Lieutenant Park Mina." "What's your name?" "Kethfer," he replied, surprised by the question. Most species he knew would have demanded to know his rank, his wealth, or his political connections before bothering with something as simple as his name. "Well, Kethfer, today's your lucky day. We picked up your distress signal about an hour. Go." The metal gave way with a loud snap. Dr. Kim Sola immediately began examining Kethfer's injured leg while Captain Helm helped support his weight. The human's touch was surprisingly gentle for such a strange-looking creature. "Broken, but not too badly," Dr. Sola announced. "We can fix this." They lifted Kethfer onto the floating platform and carried him out of his burning ship. For the first time, he saw the beings who had saved him clearly. They were bipedal like himself, but shorter and more compact. Their skin came in different shades and their eyes were smaller than his, but they moved with efficiency and purpose. "Humans," Captain Han explained when he saw Kethfer staring, "were from a planet called Earth. Not exactly a major power in the galaxy, but we try to help when we can." They took him to their ship, which was smaller than most vessels Kethfer had seen, but clean and well-maintained. Dr. Sola worked on his leg in their medical bay while Captain Han sat nearby, asking gentle questions about his health and comfort.
"Hey.
"Are you helping me?" Kethfer finally asked. "You know nothing about me? I could be a criminal or a spy?" "No." Captain Han looked puzzled by the question. "You were hurt and in danger. That's all we needed to know. But I cannot pay you.
Ship is
destroyed and my communicator is broken. I have nothing to offer." "We don't want anything," Dr. Sola said, as she finished sealing the bone in his leg. "Helping people isn't about getting paid back." Over the next 2 days, while Engineer Choi Dae worked to repair Kethfer's communicator, the humans treated him like an honored guest. They shared their food, gave him clean clothes, and answered as many questions about their species and their homeworld. Earth, they explained, was a young world that had only recently developed faster than light travel. They had no great empire, no vast armies, no ancient wisdom. They were just explorers, mapping the galaxy and trying to make friends. "Most species we meet are suspicious of us," Lieutenant Park Mina explained during one of their meals. "They think we must want something from them, and you do not," Kethfer asked. Just friendship, Captain Han replied. The galaxy is a big place. It's better if we all get along. When Engineer Choi finally got the communicator working, Kethfer was able to contact his government. A rescue ship arrived within hours. Its crew surprised to find their ambassador not only alive but well cared for, as Kethfer prepared to leave. He offered Captain Hyun a bag of precious stones from his personal collection. Let me pay you for your kindness? Captain Hyun shook his head and gently pushed the bag back. Keep your stones, Ambassador. Helping you was simply the right thing to do. As the Zilani ship carried him home, Kethfer stared out at the small human vessel growing smaller in the distance. In all his years of diplomacy, he had never encountered such selfless behavior. These humans had asked for nothing and expected nothing in return. He would not forget this kindness. 6 months had passed since Ambassador Kethfer's rescue, and now he sat in the highest chair in the Zilani Republic. The Grand Council chamber on Zilani Prime was filled with the most powerful beings in their sector of the galaxy. But Kethfer's thoughts kept returning to a small human ship and the kindness of strangers. The humans acted without any thought of profit, he told his council during their daily meeting. They saved my life and asked for nothing in return. Such behavior is rare in our galaxy. His chief advisor, a tall Zilani with silver markings on his face, made a dismissive gesture. High Chancellor, they are a primitive species. They simply do not understand how galactic trade works. Give them time, and they will learn to demand payment like everyone else. Other council members nodded in agreement, as Zilani had dealt with hundreds of species over the centuries, and they all followed the same pattern. Help was never free. There was always a price, always a favor to be repaid later. But Kethfer had seen something different in Captain Hyan's eyes. The human had genuinely wanted nothing more than to help someone in need. It was a concept that most galactic civilizations had forgotten long ago. Meanwhile, thousands of light years away, Captain Bei Jinwoo stood on the bridge of the colony, ship New Horizon, and watched his crew work desperately to save 50,000 lives. The massive vessel carried entire families, scientists, teachers, and children who had left Earth to build a new home among the stars. How bad is it? He asked his chief engineer, a young woman named Han Yeri, who had oil stains on her uniform and exhaustion in her eyes. The main life support system is completely destroyed, she reported. The backup systems are failing too. We have maybe 6 hours of breathable air left. Captain Bei felt the weight of 50,000 lives pressing down on him. New Horizon was too far from Earth for any rescue ship to reach them in time. They were alone in the vast emptiness of space, with death slowly creeping through their corridors. Send out a distress signal on all frequencies, he ordered his communications officer, Lieutenant Oyuna. Maybe someone will hear us. O began broadcasting their desperate plea for help. The message went out in every language they knew, begging anyone who might be listening to come to their aid. But the nearest ships belonged to the Zilani Republic, and humans had no formal contact with that government. Most species would ignore a distress call from an unknown civilization. Space was dangerous, and helping strangers was often seen as a waste of resources. But when the message reached High Chancellor Kethfer's personal communication system, he acted immediately. Assemble the council, he commanded his aide. We have an emergency. Within minutes, the Zilani leadership gathered in the council chamber. Kethfer played the human distress signal for them to hear. The desperation in Captain Bei's voice was clear, even across the language barriers. We must help them, Kethfer declared. His advisors looked at him with shock. High Chancellor, these humans are not our allies. We have no treaties with them. We gain nothing by helping them. They are the same species that saved my life, Kethfer replied firmly. They showed me mercy when they had no reason to do so. But that was just one ship, another advisor protested. This would require diverting an entire patrol fleet. The cost would be enormous. Kethfer stood from his chair, his tall frame casting a shadow. Over the council table, the cost of ignoring this call would be far greater. 50,000 beings will die if we do nothing. That is not our responsibility, his chief advisor said coldly. We owe these humans nothing. I owe them my life, Kethfer said quietly. And I will not let them die when we have the power to save them. The debate continued for precious minutes, while New Horizon drifted helplessly through space. Some council members argued that helping the humans would set a dangerous precedent. Others worried about the political implications of acting without government approval. But Kethfer had made his decision, using his authority as High Chancellor. He personally ordered the nearest patrol fleet to divert from their mission and assist the human colony ship. "Contact Admiral Vexstar immediately," he commanded. "Tell him he has new orders." Admiral Vexstar received the message, while his fleet was conducting routine patrols near the edge of Zilani space.
Ow.
He was an experienced commander who had served the Republic for decades, but he had never received such unusual orders. "We are to rescue an unknown species?" he asked his communications officer. "Those are the High Chancellor's direct orders, sir." Admiral Vexstar looked at his tactical display. Helping the humans would require his ships to travel for several hours at maximum speed, using precious fuel and potentially putting his crews at risk. But orders were orders, especially when they came from the highest authority in the Republic. Course for the human vessel, he commanded. Maximum speed. The Zilani ships arrived at New Horizon just as the colony ship's life support systems began their final shutdown. Captain Bay watched in amazement as alien vessels surrounded his ship and began extending emergency airlines. "This is Admiral Vexstar of the Zilani Republic," came a voice over the communication system. "We are here to assist you." Within hours, the Zilani had stabilized New Horizon's life support and provided the materials needed for permanent repairs. 50,000 human lives were saved by beings they had never met, from a government they had never contacted. As the rescue operation concluded, Admiral Vexstar sent a report back to High Chancellor Kethfer. "The humans have been saved, sir." "They are grateful beyond words." Kethfer smiled as he read the message. The debt had been repaid, but he suspected this was only the beginning of something much larger. The rescue of New Horizon sent shockwaves through the galaxy like ripples in a pond. On the busy trading station of Alteria Prime, merchants gathered around holographic displays showing news feeds about the dramatic rescue. The story was simple but incredible. An entire alien fleet had saved 50,000 humans they had never met. "Did you hear about the Zilani rescue?" asked Merchant Captain Yoktel as he sipped his morning drink. "They diverted a whole patrol fleet just to help some unknown species." His trading partner, a blue-skinned Altarian named Meldar, shook his head in disbelief. "That makes no sense. What did they get in return?" "That's the strange part," Yoktel replied. "Apparently, they asked for nothing. The humans had saved one of their diplomats months ago, and this was their way of saying thank you." The story spread from trader to trader, station to station, world to world. Each telling made the humans sound more remarkable. Here was a species that inspired such loyalty that others would risk everything to help them. On Earth, Admiral Namji-Hoon found himself overwhelmed by the response. His communication system buzzed constantly with messages from species he had never heard of. The Altarian Consortium offered mining rights on 3 mineral-rich worlds. The Vegan Collective wanted to share their advanced farming techniques. The Silicon Republic proposed a technology exchange program. "Sure, we have another delegation requesting a meeting," his aide, Captain Essio Doyen, announced as he entered the Admiral's office. "This time it's from the Crystalline Hegemony." Melnam rubbed his tired eyes. "What do they want?" "They're offering to share their energy shield technology. They say they're impressed by our moral character and want to be friends with a species that keeps its promises." It was the same story everywhere. The galaxy's various civilizations were not interested in Earth's military strength or technological advancement. They wanted to know about human character, about their reputation as beings who honored their debts and helped others without asking for payment. Trade agreements followed quickly. The Altarian Consortium, impressed by the story of Captain Hyan's selfless rescue, offered humanity beneficial mining rights on distant worlds. The Vegan Collective, known for their agricultural expertise, began teaching humans how to grow food in alien environments. Commander Lee Minho, of the Earth Trade Commission, found himself signing agreements that would have taken years to negotiate under normal circumstances. "They're treating us like old friends," he reported to Earth Command. "All because we helped one stranded diplomat." The humans were being called Oathkeepers and Detonors throughout the galaxy. These were titles that carried enormous weight in galactic society, where most species were known for their cunning or their military might, not their moral standards. But not all attention was positive. In the dark halls of the Kraktar war fleet, General Thackerone studied the reports about humanity with growing disgust. The Kraktar Empire had built their power on fear and strength, and they viewed kindness as the worst possible weakness. "These humans disgust me," he told his war council. "They rescue strangers and ask for nothing in return. They inspire loyalty through weakness. Such behavior is poison to the natural order of the galaxy." His advisors nodded in agreement. The Kraktar believed that only the strong deserved to survive, that mercy was a disease that weakened entire civilizations. "Should test them," suggested General Morkith, second in command. "They are truly as soft as the reports suggest. They will make easy targets." General Thackerone smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Yes, let us see how their famous kindness serves them when facing real warriors." The attacks began small. Kraktar raiders struck human cargo ships traveling between Earth and the new colonies. The humans responded with increased security patrols, but they still followed rules of engagement that the Kraktar considered laughably weak. "They capture our raiders instead of killing them," General Morkith reported after reviewing the battle reports. "They provide medical care to prisoners and ask for prisoner exchanges. They are even weaker than we thought." The raids grew bolder. Human settlements on the outer colonies found themselves under constant attack. The humans fought back, but they did so with a restraint that the Kraktar interpreted as cowardice. The final test came when General Thackerone decided to launch a full assault on Harmony Colony, humanity's newest and most vulnerable settlement. The colony was home to 30,000 civilians, including families with children. Colonel Yoon Jae-yoon commanded the Colonial Defense Force, a small group of soldiers who had signed up to protect farmers and scientists, not to fight a war against. Professional warriors. When the Kraktar fleet appeared in the sky above Harmony Colony, he knew they were in serious trouble. "All units, this is Colonial Command," he broadcast to his scattered forces. "We have multiple enemy ships approaching. Civilian evacuation is now in progress." The battle was brutal and one-sided. The Kraktar warriors were experienced killers who showed no mercy to anyone, soldier or civilian. Colonel Yoon fought desperately, but his small force was no match. For the invasion army, all stations, this is Harmony Base. He transmitted as explosions rocked the command center around him. "We cannot hold our position. Repeat, we cannot hold. They're overrunning our defenses." The transmission cut off as the command center exploded. Harmony Colony fell within hours, its defenders overwhelmed by an enemy that saw mercy as weakness and kindness as an invitation to attack. Thousands of colonists were killed or captured. The survivors were taken as slaves, their fate a message to the galaxy about what happened to species that chose compassion over strength. The news of Harmony Colony's destruction reached Earth within hours, along with a simple message from General Dr. Thackerone. "Your kindness has made you weak. Surrender now or watch your other colonies burn." The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see how the humans would respond to this ultimate test of their character. The news of Harmony Colony's destruction hit Earth like a thunderbolt. President Kong Mingi stood before the emergency session of the Global Council, her hands shaking as she held the casualty reports. 30,000 civilians had lived on Harmony Colony. Now, only 12,000 survivors remained, and they were being held as prisoners by the Kraktar Empire. "The enemy has made their intentions clear," she announced to the assembled leaders. "They see our compassion as weakness, our mercy as invitation to attack. They believe we will surrender rather than fight." The council chamber was filled with anger and grief. These were not soldiers who had died, but farmers, teachers, children, and families who had only wanted to build a new life among the stars. Admiral Nam Ji-hoon received the emergency mobilization order within minutes of the president's speech. Every available Earth ship was was being called to active duty, from military vessels to converted cargo haulers. But everyone knew the truth, that no one wanted to speak aloud. Earth's space fleet was still small and inexperienced. They had never fought a real war against a major military power. "How many ships can we put together?" Admiral Nam asked his staff during the emergency planning meeting. 47 combat vessels, sir," reported Captain Su Doyan. "ABT. 30 cargo ships we can convert to support roles. The Kraktar Empire has over 300 warships." The numbers were grim. Earth's military had been built for exploration and defense, not for attacking a powerful empire. The Kraktar were professional warriors who had conquered dozens of worlds. They lived for battle and showed no mercy to their enemies, but help was coming from an unexpected source. High Chancellor Kethfer of the Zilani Republic had been in a meeting with his trade council when the news arrived. His aide rushed into the chamber with the emergency report about Harmony Colony. "High Chancellor," the aide said breathlessly, "the humans are under attack. An entire colony has been destroyed." Kethfer stood up so quickly that his chair fell backward. The same humans who had saved his life, who had asked for nothing in return, were now facing extinction. The warrior race that had attacked them was known throughout the galaxy for their cruelty. "Convene the full council immediately," he ordered. "Get me a direct communication link to Earth." His advisors tried to protest. "High Chancellor, this is not our war. The Kraktar Empire is powerful and dangerous. We should not get involved." Kethfer was already walking toward the communication center. These humans showed mercy to a stranger when they had no reason to do so. They asked nothing in return. Now, when they face extinction, we will show them the same grace. The emergency session of the Zilani Council was unlike anything in their history. Kethfer stood before the assembled leaders and made a declaration that would be remembered for generations. "Attacking humanity is an act of war against the Zilani Republic itself," he announced. "We will not stand by while those who showed us kindness are destroyed by those who mistake mercy for weakness." The council erupted in debate. Some members argued that this would drag them into a costly war. Others worried about the political consequences of defending a species they barely knew. But Kethfer had already made his decision. Using his authority as High Chancellor, he ordered the Zilani fleet to prepare for war. More importantly, he sent a message to every government in the galaxy, telling them about the humans' plight and calling for assistance. The response was extraordinary. Within hours, species from across the galaxy began volunteering to help. The Altarian Consortium, who had benefited from favorable trade agreements with humanity, pledged their entire merchant marine as support vessels. The Vegan Collective contributed their most advanced defensive technologies. Captain Lim Jisoo of the Earth's defense ship Defiance watched in amazement as alien vessels began arriving in the Sol system. Ships she had never seen before belonging to species she had never heard of, all coming to help humanity in its darkest hour. "This is impossible," she whispered to her tactical officer. "How can so many different species be willing to fight for us?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Ambassador Felter of the Crystalline Hegemony had arrived with a fleet of energy-based warships. When asked why his people were helping, he gave a simple answer that would be repeated throughout the galaxy. 6 months ago, a human captain named Hyun saved a Zilani diplomat, he explained. They asked for nothing in return. This act of kindness spread like fire through the galaxy. Now we know what humans truly are. A species that honors its debts and shows mercy to strangers. More ships arrived every hour. The Silicon Republic sent their robot fleet. The Aquatic Federation contributed their underwater assault specialists. Even small independent worlds sent what few ships they could spare. Soon, the space around Earth was filled with vessels from 47 different species. Many of their crews had never met a human before, but they had all heard the stories. They knew about Captain Hyun's rescue of Ambassador Kethfer, about the Zilani fleet saving New Horizon, about humanity's reputation as beings who kept their promises. Admiral Name stood on the bridge of his flagship, the newly commissioned Harmony's Revenge, and stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Over 2,000 ships had volunteered to fight alongside humanity. the largest volunteer fleet in galactic history had assembled. Not for conquest or profit, but to defend a species known for its kindness. "Sir," Captain Co. Duyan reported, "High Chancellor Kethver is requesting permission to come aboard. He wants to personally join the fleet." Admiral Nam nodded. "Tell him he's welcome. After all, this all started because we helped one stranded diplomat." As the massive fleet prepared to depart for Krakdar space, Admiral Nam realized that humanity had discovered something more powerful than any weapon: the ability to inspire others through simple acts of compassion. The galaxy was about to learn that kindness, far from being weakness, could be the strongest force in the universe. The final battle took place in the Kepler 442 system, where the Krakdar Empire had built their forward base on a barren moon. General Thackerone stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching his sensors with growing disbelief. What should have been a simple cleanup operation against scattered human forces had turned into something he had never seen before. "How many ships are approaching?" he demanded from his tactical officer. "Sir, we count over 2,000 vessels from 47. "Different species," the officer replied, his voice shaking. "The entire galaxy appears to be coming to fight us." General Thackerone's claws scraped against the metal railing as he gripped it tighter. In all his years of conquest, he had never faced a united enemy. The Krakdar Empire had always succeeded by fighting one species at a time, using their superior numbers and ruthless tactics to overwhelm isolated opponents. "This is impossible," he growled. "These species hate each other. They compete for resources and territory. They would never work together." But the evidence was right there on his screens. Solani Republic ships flying alongside vessels from the Altarian Consortium, vegan collective cruisers moving in formation with Silicon Republic robot fleets. Species that had been enemies for centuries were now fighting side by side. At the center of the massive fleet, Admiral Nam Ji-hoon stood on the bridge of Harmony's Revenge, named after the colony that had been destroyed. Beside him stood High Chancellor Kethver, who had personally joined the fleet despite the protests of his own government. "Krakdar Fleet, this is Admiral Name of the Terran Defense Force," he transmitted on all frequencies. "You have attacked innocent civilians and taken prisoners. Surrender now, and we will show you the mercy you denied our people." General Sakharon's response was swift and predictable. "Humans, you are weak creatures who mistake kindness for strength. We will crush your pathetic alliance and enslave your surviving worlds." The Krakdar fleet moved forward to attack, but they were facing something they had never encountered before. This was not a desperate last stand by a few human ships. This was the largest volunteer fleet in galactic history, united by something more powerful than fear or greed. Captain Lim Jaisu watched from the Bridge of Defiance as the battle began. The Krakdar ships were fast and deadly, but they were outnumbered 6-1. More importantly, they were fighting an enemy that knew exactly why they were there. "All allied ships," this is Admiral Nam, came the voice over the communication system. "Remember why we fight? We fight for the 30,000 people of Harmony Colony. We fight for the idea that kindness is not weakness, that mercy is not invitation. To attack, the battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Zolani energy weapons combined with Altarian shield technology, vegan collective healing ships worked alongside Silicon Republic repair drones. The crystalline hegemony's energy beings merged with human, tactical computers to create perfect coordination. But it was not just the technology that made the difference. It was the motivation. Every ship in the Allied fleet was there by choice, fighting for beings they believed in. The Krakdar, for all their military skill, had never faced an enemy that inspired such devotion. "Our left flank is collapsing," reported General Morketh to his commander. "The enemy coordination is perfect. They anticipate our every move." Thackerone watched his forces being systematically destroyed. His ships were being outmaneuvered not by superior technology, but by superior teamwork. The Allied fleet moved like a single organism, each species contributing their unique abilities to the common cause. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "These species should be fighting each other, not working together." The answer came from an unexpected source. One of his communication officers had been monitoring the enemy transmissions and discovered something remarkable. Sir, they keep mentioning a human captain named Haon, the officer reported. Apparently, he saved a Zilani diplomat 6 months ago. That single act of kindness seems to have started all of this. General Thecaron stared at the tactical display as more of his ships exploded. An entire war was being fought because one human had helped a stranger. The idea was so alien to his way of thinking that he could barely comprehend it. The battle lasted only 3 hours. The Kraktar fleet, despite their superior individual ships and experienced warriors, could not match the combined might of a united galaxy. Those who could escape fled back to their own territory. The rest were destroyed or captured. As the smoke cleared, Admiral Nam found himself looking at something unprecedented in galactic history. The prisoners they had taken were not just Kraktar warriors, but the 12,000 human survivors from Harmony Colony. They had been freed by an alliance that had formed specifically to save them. In the aftermath, as the coalition fleet prepared to disperse, High Chancellor Kethfer met with Admiral Nam in the flagship's conference room. The human admiral struggled to find words adequate to express his gratitude. Chancellor, what you have done here, mobilizing the entire galaxy to help us. It goes beyond anything we could have imagined or hoped for. Alien features curved in what humans had learned was a smile. Admiral, you saved one diplomat. The galaxy has chosen to save your entire species. Perhaps now you understand the true power of a small favor. The war's end brought changes that would reshape the galaxy forever. Earth was invited to join the newly formed Galactic Alliance, not as a junior member, but as a founding partner. The alliance was built on principles that the humans had demonstrated: mutual aid, honor, and the belief that helping others was simply the right thing to do. In the years that followed, historians would study the Battle of Kepler 442 as the moment when the galaxy learned that true strength came not from weapons or conquest, but from the bonds forged through simple acts of compassion. Captain Lee Hyen's decision to help a stranded stranger had grown into something that changed the course of galactic civilization. The small favor had been repaid with Earth's entire Armada, and the Armada had won something far more valuable than any military victory: the friendship of the galaxy itself.